Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So,
Great.
I'll give like a proper introduction. So, I'm here with Andrew Stockdale of Wolfmother, and
Yeah.
we arranged our interview kind of on the spot. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
Last minute. So,
Yeah, totally.
Where am I calling you actually right now?
I'm in Brisbane.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And do you live out over there now, or are you just in the area?
Between here and Byron Bay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, so I live in Amsterdam right now, but
Nice.
yeah, so it's still quite cold. It's like -3 today, so I think it's summer for you guys still.
Oh my God, -3. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like 29 degrees or something.
Whoa.
Pretty warm, yeah.
Nice though.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Great.
great.
You're the founding member of Wolfmother, and you're the only original member that still remains.
Yeah.
Are you like happy about the changes that have taken place in the group and the sound that you've produced now with kind of a changing roster?
Am I happy about it?
Maybe that's not a great word. I don't know.
That's a difficult one to answer. Well, where it's at now is pretty good. Like, because when we started off, it was like a equal sort of footing. Do you know what I mean? Everything was equal.
Yeah.
So everything was approved by the band. Tours and everything.
Mhm.
Artwork, photos, all that kind of stuff was all equal.
Yeah.
Which kind of meant like it would take a long time to get things happening sometimes.
Yeah.
But now, like I just kind of, I guess I call the shots. So I just, if I see some shows that I want to do, I just say yes, and then I book it in. Then I call the guys and see if they want to do it. So it's like things happen a lot faster. Songs get recorded a lot faster. Tours happen. I guess we're more productive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enjoy that side of it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really cool, actually. Then you can be more of like a self-starter and kind of say, yeah, I want to do it this way, and we're going to do it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's I'd highly recommend it to anyone who's starting a band.
Yeah.
Once you have an established leader, you can just, if you just trust that person to just go for it, and they've got a good, kind of judgment, like you can really achieve a lot. Like I just played on stage with, you probably saw on my Instagram, like I did a song with the Foo Fighters on the weekend, and
Oh, that's cool.
Seeing how Dave Grohl just sort of runs, the whole show. It's like he's filling stadiums, and the band's just backing him off, and it seems to work. Yeah.
Really cool. I mean, I guess if the person leading it is able to and does a good job, then like why not?
Yeah, if they're stuffing it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, maybe not. If it's not getting it, if it's not successful.
Yeah.
I mean, if people aren't turning up and people aren't getting into the music or whatever, then I guess you need to reestablish. Maybe someone else needs to like step in and do more or be more involved. But yeah.
Cool.
So far, so good.
No, sounds great. So I want to know what drew you to create a group that's really heavily influenced by like 60s and 70s hard rock and metal. Is that a genre that you just personally liked a lot and wanted to create a group that was influenced, or was it a different kind of reasoning?
It's funny, like I think it's just naturally inside of me. I think it's something that comes naturally to me. Like, you know, when initially we came up with Woman and all these songs, like, people were like, you guys need to hear Deep Purple. In all honesty, I hadn't heard Deep Purple. Like,
oh, really?
I mean, this is 15 years ago, you know what I mean? And like, it wasn't like you had YouTube and, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, you just
now everything's like way more accessible, but yeah, I mean, I heard like Black Knight and all that kind of stuff, and I thought, wow, this is like very similar, you know. But all those songs from that era, you know, Ziggy Stardust and TRex and Deep Purple and
all those, they really influenced.
Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, all those bands. It just seems to speak to me in some way, and I probably could do like way more modern music, like if I wanted to, you know, like, and just do modern production and have it more like a different style. But to me, like, that era seems like that's what like rock and roll should sound like.
Yeah, no, I agree totally.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think there's like something, like there's these golden ages in history, and you have like the Renaissance in terms of art and music, and you have like the 60s and 70s where really like anything was attainable musically, and they produced like gold, and like you feel it in your soul, you know? So I feel like there's some kind of magic there that maybe you like had like a past life, and then you came here and you're like, I'm going to bring it back. I don't know.
Someone did say that to me once. Like, before I was even in a band, I just went to these like hippies' house in Wollongbar in the hinterland just near the Gold Coast, and they were like playing acoustic, and I was playing acoustic along with them, and this older woman, she was like, man, you seem like, you know, an old spirit from the 70s and like come back from another lifetime. And I was like, wow, yeah, maybe I am more in tune with the spirit of that era in some ways.
Yeah, I totally believe in that kind of stuff. I mean, you never know, and it could definitely explain why you kind of feel it within, and you're not so much influenced on the group specifically, but just kind of the vibe of the music.
Yeah, the ideals, I guess, in some ways too, like free-spirited kind of ideals of questioning authority and anti-consumerism, and people just, you know, living the lives the way they want to, and, you know, sort of being more creative. And, you know, that time does have a bit of a nostalgic appeal to it. But
I mean,
you know, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just gonna say that I think it's probably this modern age needs some of those ideals, you know, because we're living in like a crazy world, right? Like, there's mass consumerism. People are like watching reality TV while there's like human trafficking going on, like the water's messed up. I feel like we need to kind of fight a little bit, you know, like let's kind of revolt. Like, it's kind of sometimes crazy to me that people are just like not revolting when this crazy stuff is going on. Like, what happened to us as humans, you know?
I sort of wonder, like, how do you revolt? like, what do you do?
I mean, like
how do you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess it depends. Sorry, go ahead.
I have a Tesla. Yeah. I just bought a Tesla, and I feel like in some ways, like, that's my
revolt.
That's my revolt against, you know, fossil fuels. And if everyone else like joined in on that, we might have, you know, it could change the world that way. Yeah, most of the wars are about fuel, you know, fossil fuels, so that would change. But I think the revolution of financially or whatever is far more subtle.
Yeah.
It's like just personal choices that people make resonate.
Yeah.
Globally, and just basic ideals, like, just trying not to be aggressive towards people, or that's what non-violence. I mean, I sort of, like, I play sort of loud, uplifting. Some might say in some ways it's aggressive or whatever. It has like
it's powerful, right? Yeah, like, so it's not aggressive, but it's power. It's like the music has energy to it.
Yeah, gets you going. It has some kind of energy, but personally, I don't endorse like aggressive behavior. Like, but it's funny that I play this music and like people. I think it's also like in some ways like a masculine. I think a lot of rock and roll has been, like, for lack of a better word, emasculated.
Yeah, I get it.
And in some ways, men need to feel like men.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Well, I think it's cool. Like, you don't, just because you play hard rock doesn't mean, like, you endorse, like, aggression or polluting the environment, or I don't know what people would associate with that, like, but it's cool.
Like I just played at a car race, like, with all these people with V8s and all this stuff, and I'm like, I like the culture of it. It's funny. I love it, but I drive a Tesla. But rock and roll is associated with, hotted up cars and motorbikes and lots of cultural kind of things that attach itself with the rock and roll spirit.
Yeah, drugs and women and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff is becoming. It's like a cliche, dated ideal, like.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's funny because, like, sometimes you meet, like, I meet a lot of smaller bands when they're starting out, and you think, like, okay, this music's really good, like, what is the inspiration behind this? And then it's, like, really disappointing, but they put on this really, like, rock and roll lifestyle, like, drugs, alcohol, like, not caring for the establishment, but then they, like, live in someone's basement. They're not actually helping change the world, and I'm like, this is so phony. Like, what is this? You're not cool.
Because you really if someone's putting themselves out a certain way, you want to see them live it.
Yeah.
Is that what you kind of getting at?
I mean, like, it's almost like I feel like a lot of people in the modern music industry are kind of selling this persona to an audience, and it's not based on anything. Like, you can pretend to be like a rock god, but then like, they live in their mom's basement. They can't afford a piece of they can't afford, like, a pizza. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like, why are you pretending? Like, just make good music and act normal, Like,
and they want to be all. Well, a lot of these people want to be. They've got hang-ups and issues and insecurities. I mean, and they want to be worshipped, and they want to. They've got agendas. They've got it's like, I mean, when I started playing music, it's funny that people look to musicians, like, you look at a musician and you go, are they living what they believe in? Do they represent what they're preaching? Are they practicing what they're preaching? Do they have integrity? But, like, I remember, like, when I started playing music when I was, like, 17 or 15, it was like, if you played music, people just thought you were a loser.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You know what I mean? It's like, people, if you just said, I play the drums or I play electric guitar, they'd be like, okay, you're going to end up an alcoholic drug addict or in jail or unemployed. Like, people would just think you're a loser.
Oh my God.
and then it's funny, like, and then when you make it, and then you become successful. People are like, what are your ideals? What do you believe in?
I know
What's
what you
your
mean.
philosophy? How do you live? What do you eat? What do you drink? Are you, and people kind of, but it's funny how, like, the musician goes from, like, the loser in society's eyes to the
like the saint almost, or like this holy figure.
Like someone, I don't know, to be
emulated maybe.
What's the word? Role model?
Yeah, it could be,
or
which
something
is
like
huge.
that,
I mean, it's that whole thing.
Model.
Like, do you know that story? Probably, like, where Elvis, he's like super druggy, and then he's basically taken on by the U.S. government to be like a role model against drugs. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, who thought of this? And it's just crazy that. But you're right. It happens in our world.
Yeah. Yeah. They just anyone who has an audience. I mean, like, when you're popular, people see that you can reach an audience, and they just want to reach those people. They see that as a powerful tool to use for someone, whatever interest they want to promote.
For sure. And I think a lot of people in the world are just self-interested, or they'll maybe try to use people, whatever kind of fame they have, just for their own motive. So it's I think it becomes kind of a weird place when you become known.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get people saying, "Can you do this charity and this charity?" And like, I went through a stage of doing every charity that people offered. Like, I did like wells in India, and then I remember, like, we raised like $10,000 for these girls who wanted to make wells in India, and the bass player went to an after party with these girls who like raised the money, and they were like doing coke back at their house.
God. Yeah, that's like so weird, right? It's all like a front. Yeah. Like, it's not. I feel like, what is authentic anymore? I don't even know. Oh man. But, crazy.
So yeah, people do want to use bands to make money, shed light on causes or whatever. But all things aside, I think there is an element of it that is just entertainment.
Yeah.
And that sounds like shallow as, like someone who's just like kind of wearing a glittery jacket, like down in Las Vegas, but I think there is an element of it's like costume,
Yeah.
Like hippie guys who the hippie thing becomes a costume, like the grunge thing becomes a costume. What the rock guys with the generic, lots of things. All these things just become sort of like costumes, like a way of appealing to an audience. So if you don't take it too seriously, it's just. I mean, I just look at it and I just think, are the songs good? Is it a good show? Is there like something that I can relate to or whatever? But a lot of the bands that I see out there at these festivals, I just think a lot of them just seem like they're hard-working people who are just managed to get out there. They don't like I don't see a lot of bands where I'm like, whoa, that's an incredible song, or that's incredible. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing out on something, but a lot of these bands just seem kind of
maybe generic, like
pretty average. Like,
yeah. No, I agree. I think it's all kind of contrived, because I think now, I mean, music has always been, at least for the last like 60 years, it has been like more of a business, but I think like especially last 20 years or so, people are creating music they think will sell often, and that's and that's what gets played. Like I've seen some really great bands who are not known, and maybe And then that, because they're not, like, the masses probably maybe wouldn't like it, or they don't have support of bigger companies. I'm not sure, but they do exist. But a lot of the mainstream stuff is the same. It's like regurgitated, and they make people look a certain way, and you have to be like beautiful to be in a band. It's not the same as before, you know? But
yeah. Well, it's funny, like on our second record, I was just listening to it today, like, you know, I had so much pressure from the record label to, you know, write a song or to write a hit, you know.
Yeah.
I remember at one point, like, my manager or someone said, you have to write a top 10 hit. You have to write it. And I was like,
no pressure.
I remember when he said that to me, and I was like, I couldn't sleep the whole night. I was just like, and because then you just start thinking, well, what's a hit?
Yeah.
What do people like? And what theme should I take? And then you're sort of just pandering towards what you think someone's going to like.
Yeah. Which isn't, it's not an authentic thing.
Yeah, so I can see how a lot of these bands are sort of can wind up, under a bit of pressure from these labels or whatever to present something that's commercial or whatever, and maybe that's why back in the day in the 60s and 70s, like, bands just didn't know if they were going to make it. Like, they'd be like stuffing around doing some project, and then one out of 8 records was massive.
Yeah.
But and then they couldn't replicate it again,
No, I know.
But I think when things are massive, it's like, it's a bit of what do they call it? Stars aligning. When something just works and it's massive, it's like it hits the right chord with people, the right songs happen, the chemistry, everything happens, and but from what I see out there in the industry, a lot of it just looks like hard work, like people with good marketing campaigns, people doing an okay average job, but I don't see that magic. I don't see the stars lining. I don't see things where I go, oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I want to be around that.
Yeah, it doesn't give you like goosebumps when you listen to it. I know there's some songs, like, I'll play from just almost anything, also TRex, and you listen to it and you're like, I don't know, like, holy fuck, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's like something about it, like, you feel it inside you, and it like gives you goosebumps, and it's like magic. I don't know. It's just like the whole thing.
Yeah, that's funny that with TRex, like, I was a photographer before I started the band, and I was driving in a rental car. I rented this car to do a photo shoot, and TRex Telegram Sam came on.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, man, I want to be in that studio in whenever it was the 60s or 70s in London, and that, like, I could see it and visualize it, and it just seems so inspiring, like, and that energy or that vision, I feel like I've tried to, at times just recreate that and find that it's like a high. It's like a musical high, and I think that's what a good song can take you is like it almost takes you, like, it's an out of body experience, like.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like you're kind of like somehow like tapping into some like musical force. I don't know, like.
Yeah. Cool. Like when I'm writing a song, which is what I'm doing right now, I don't want it to sound like I'm writing a song. Yeah. Like, I want it to sound like some fucking amazing thing.
Do you mean like you're like the vessel?
Presented to me.
Okay, yeah.
That I almost want it to sound like I didn't even do it.
Yeah. Like
Like
maybe.
that's what,
Yeah.
like with songwriting and stuff, when when you look back at like with Woman and all, people talk. I remember the publisher like, who writes a song? How does it happen? And blah. And when you write like a really good song, you almost like forget how it happened.
Yeah.
Because you try to get yourself into this mental state where you're not thinking.
Yeah. It's like you're being. I know what you mean. It's like you're being used as like a vessel for something else. Like a musical force is kind of using you, and you're making the song, but it's not coming from you. Maybe it's like coming from the world.
You're like a conduit. So it's like it is like a higher thought. It like when it's good, it's like I guess there's different frequencies that you can tune into that appeal to different audiences, which are on that particular level,
Yeah.
and they're feeling that energy. Like maybe like when I hear Eminem, for example, I think people who are drinking Coca-Cola, eating McDonald's, going to shopping malls, like, and they're in it, like they're pissed off and they're angry and they're anxious. And they're all sort of like on that, they're vibrating on that pulse. And they can all relate to that energy of that person.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean...
And he almost becomes like the ambassador of that. He becomes the voice of that way of life, that frustration, the humor of it and the frustration, and he replicates it. Whereas I sort of want to run away from that as fast as I can. Like I don't want that. Man, to me that just seems like a bad headspace.
Yeah, it's a negative energies.
Negative energy.
Yeah.
But my daughter loves it.
But maybe she is able to distance herself. Like she digs it, but she's not like letting it consume her.
I think she just likes it because he's angry, and he's like, he's angry and he's just, sarcastic and witty. But when I started this band, like, I thought, if this takes off, I'll be saying these lyrics for the rest of my life. And I thought I should try and keep it positive, you know what I mean? Because it's almost like, it's like a mantra, like songs are like mantras, and you have to go back into that headspace every time you sing that song. You have to go to that place.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for like people who are deriving inspiration and energy from a negative sort, or some kind of aggressive, bitchy, putting someone down or like slagging someone off. You think, wow, they're going into that headspace every night. They're reliving that trauma and that negative energy. They're going in there. What is that like on a daily basis to sing that? To have that be your voice every day. So I try to get around it. I try to soften off the edges and have some positive resolution or a comical element that where I'm not, like I could just use someone as a topic to mock. I could create a whole song around putting someone down.
Yeah.
But I've chosen to stay away from that because I just think that you're kind of messing with like negative energy in some ways.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, they've even done like studies, like not even New Age, but like actual like scientific studies that like if you're around someone who's negative and maybe they're saying something negative or they're not even saying something, and it can also be music, that it impacts your own energy. So it's like you kind of have to make a decision, like, do I want to spread like good and like positive feelings, or do I want to spread this kind of hatred and anger?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I mean, and then the only other challenge is to just not be cheesy and insincere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, of course.
It's like you're trying to be like have a good message, like without being, having any sincerity or just like glazing over things. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just fuck, yeah.
I know what
It's
you mean.
it's a tough one, and yeah, it all stems back, I think, to bands who want success, or people will try anything to make it.
Yeah, yeah. I bet.
And but sometimes it just, I couldn't tell you what the formula is, but I've definitely seen, I've had that kind of pressure where people expect successful, a good song that people are going to like, and I think the key is just, like they say, be yourself.
Yeah.
And if anything now more than ever, like I'm just doing stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Or try, and I've in the past I've let people, like producers, change the sound of a song, mm-hmm. where I think that my demo is better than what they've done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like,
yeah.
I've got songs where, like, I could name, like, 30 songs where I think my demos are better, mm-hmm. than what the recording is, but I let the recording happen because I thought, this is what you have to do for a commercial product, and this is what the manager will keep the manager happy, and the record label happy, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
It's like, so I sort of like and I kind of think, stuff it. It's a good song, even if it has production that I don't really like, it'll still get through to people because it's a good song, because it's good riff and good, there's something good. Or I just think when we go out there live, people will see how I interpret it, and they'll be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the way that the band plays it, but I mean, on the next record, which I'm working on now,
yeah,
like, I just really want to make it like something that, like, if I bumped into someone that I liked and respected or whatever, and they're like, oh, I heard your record, I'd be like, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of
I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, that thing, that producer, and we had to, I wasn't there for the mixing, or, I don't want to, like,
I know.
Yeah, I don't want to make any excuses about the next one,
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's good. And when do you think you'll release a new album?
Well, I'm just gonna finish it. I'm gonna give myself, like, plenty of time, like the year, just to get this done. Like, because I play everything. I play the drums, bass, guitar. I mean, when you talk about, like, putting a band together and what does that mean with people coming and going or whatever, like, I've had, like, on the second record, I had the record ready, and everything written. I had a gig booked, and I had to put together a band to play this gig.
Yeah.
And then those guys become the band for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And I've just, like, met them. And so for me, like, putting together bands are like, it's like, that's what I do after I've written the record, and it's almost like, it's like a total crapshoot, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
You know, you meet people, you just give it a go, and you just see what happens, and you just wing it. Yeah.
I know. And like,
yeah.
oh, sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah. That's so you know, every after the record, I guess I just kind of, after touring, I sort of go back to my own thing. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I go back into the studio, writing riffs and doing all these things, and then I kind of think, who do I want to share this experience with? You know, I want to. If these people are going to be in the band, I want them to be like cool. Like, I want them to enjoy it, and I don't want to work with people who take it for granted or are going to complain, or, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like, as I'm writing it, I really want to visualize like a positive kind of project.
So you write all of the songs yourself, essentially, and then the other members kind of manifest your musical vision? Is that like a good...
On Victorious, like, I played everything. I wrote the whole freaking thing and played all the instruments, and then gave it to the producer, or gave it to my manager. They got a producer on board, and then we got another drummer. We got one drummer, this guy Joey Warnicker, who he drums for Beck and Roger Waters and
oh, really cool.
Air, and so he heard my demos, and he just tried to, like, I guess play it without making any mistakes, and play it like confidently, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But when I listen back to my demos now, I'm like I want to have my drumming on there. I just think that it's
yeah.
Like, I think I've got a good feel. It's like I've got this kind of Ringo-esque kind of Mitch Mitchell thing happening, and people think it's like sloppy drums, but like, I don't know. Like lots of people have heard my demos and like, man, you got to play on the record.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, maybe it has like it gives it more of a character, and just because something is maybe more like clean, I guess you could say, doesn't mean that it's the better version.
Exactly. But for people, sometimes, you know, so-called industry people, and I don't really know what an industry person is, or how someone becomes an industry person, or where they come from.
I don't want to be them, so...
Yeah. Or professional recording, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But there's like this imaginary body of people who somehow say if it's more clinical and clean and perfect, then it's good. And I'm like, I'm the freaking musician, and the fans are coming to the, you know, they're the ones who judge it. So I feel like, you know, I've made like 4 records or something, but I'm still kind of going through this mind shift of like I'm at this point now where I just like, I mean, I don't know how to, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know. You just want to do like what you think is best, I guess.
You know what I mean? I've done all these tours, I've done all these, and now I just like, I just want to communicate my vision with the people, with the fan, you know, with whoever's into Wolfmother or anything that I've done. Mm-hmm. I mean, I put up a song called Freedom Is Mine. I put that up like a couple of months ago, and that's recorded at my studio. And I still did the same thing where I do all the drums, and then I get in another drummer to basically replicate and do a better performance than what I did.
Yeah.
But then something gets lost.
Yeah.
When that happens too. But anyway, this is possibly too much of an insight into the creative process. I'm not sure if that's what you're...
No, I mean, it's good to hear it. I mean, always interesting. So what kind of groups are you listening to now?
I'm okay. I've been listening to Boston.
Okay, good.
You know Boston?
Yeah, good. More Than a Feeling.
More Than a Feeling, and actually, I found that guy to be a bit of an inspiration just of late because he does everything himself.
Okay.
And he put, he wrote the record before he even had a band, so I'm kind of like, yeah, I dig this guy's approach, and so I found that to be pretty inspiring.
That's really cool.
What else was I listening to? I've been listening to a bit of Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
The Wall, and that's also, I think I like their approach, the way they were just this like quirky psychedelic band that no one liked or couldn't get any commercial success, and they just rejected that kind of psychedelic movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they rejected being like cutesy Sid Barrett psychedelic boys because they couldn't really pull it off, and then they brought out this kind of darker prog thing, and people were like, it's like, so I like that. Just when you break out of the genres and just be a bit more yourself, and people kind of, I think the key is just to tune into your core self and listen to that inner voice somehow, creatively speaking, and just get that out there. But just people like that, Pink Floyd, Boston, Roger Waters.
Yeah, he does a lot of political stuff too. He's like big on, like, he does the music, and then he's also like sort of, I guess, an activist. I don't know if you'd call it that, but like trying to bring awareness. He's cool.
Yeah, I like that political. Yeah, it's funny, like, I went to the gig last night and I was like, yeah, anti-authoritarian and let's do this, and then I woke up in the morning there, I had a few beers at the gig, and I was like, so what am I meant to be protesting about? I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for it, but I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, God.
Is it? And then I see, like you're saying, you analyze the person. I thought, okay, I'm going to look him up. Then I see he had like a divorce with his third wife, and they're bickering over a $35,000 Rolex watch.
Oh my God.
And I just think, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? Like, with all this political bullshit, at the end of the day, they're freaking multi-millionaires bickering over Rolex watches. I don't care. He wrote some good songs. I enjoyed the performance. But what can you do?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Really? I just think people are kind of... So many artists seem flawed or like, I mean, even when I was looking at like John Lennon with the peace movement, you look at John Lennon with the peace movement, and it's like the angriest you'll ever see John Lennon is when he's campaigning for peace. You know what I mean? Don't you find that ironic? It's like, it's like people who campaign for peace just end up freaking throwing a Molotov cocktail at someone and freaking burning. It's like, it seems like, someone who's like, with people who just go on about it, are passionate about it, just tend to drive themselves. They seem to become the opposite or something. I don't know. It's like...
Yeah. No, it's scary. I think they maybe justify it in a sense that the end goal is good in a sense, but yeah, you're right. The methods they use, you kind of question, like, wait, aren't we supposed to be peaceful? Then why are we, killing people and trying to blow up cars and weird kind of stuff, I mean, it's the same with Greenpeace. Like, the goal is good, but the methods can be kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, perfection is, I don't know if it's completely attainable in the human soul.
No, it's not. I mean, I think like I have these conversations sometimes with people like, aren't we all supposed to be nice to each other? Like, what's going on? Like, why are people so self-interested or nasty? But the thing is, that's human nature actually. Like, humans are that way. So I don't think, at least for, unless maybe there's something changed in like our programming, I don't think we're going to have this perfect idealistic world just because it's not human nature to have that, you know?
Yeah. It's we can strive towards it, I guess, but yeah. Like I'm not a cynic. I hope I don't sound like a cynic. Like
No.
I'm an optimist,
Yeah.
and I believe in like the good of people, and I just find it here. I just find some of these, like Roger Waters with the political stuff, and when people get too political, and or like you're saying with the guys who are putting off a rock persona with skull rings and drinking Jack Daniels and going fuck you and giving a finger on Instagram, and they're sleeping in their mom's basement and you're not paying any rent and don't have a job and playing computer games. You go, well, that's not freaking. I just like, you just go, okay, well, calm down. Everybody just calm down. Okay?
Yeah.
Playing a bit of music, it's fine. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
But, we're just musicians. We're not dentists or doctors. No one's life is at stake.
Yeah.
We're not pilots. We're not building bridges and buildings. We don't really have any real responsibility. We're just like, people want us to have fun.
Yeah.
To an extent. They want us to, like, help them express emotions within themselves that they can't express. I think artists essentially just help people to feel or escape, or but we can't get too caught up in our own sense of self-importance, or so when I don't think if it's great that Roger Waters is putting up his things about politicians and whatever else, but I woke up this morning after the gig and I'm like, what do I do? Where do I sign? What's the way forward? I paid my $80 and now I'm just sitting at home with a hangover by myself.
Yeah.
Have I made the world a better place?
Yeah.
By going to his gig? I didn't do shit.
Yeah. It's like this false sense of empowerment, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And maybe like, so I guess you said you live close to Byron Bay, or in that kind of area?
Yeah, I have like a house in Byron Bay and a house in Brisbane.
Okay, cool. And what's the music scene like over there?
In Brisbane or Byron?
I mean, I guess both. Yeah. Are they different?
Byron, it's very bizarre. Like, Byron's got all these, like, everyone's doing Tallest Man on Earth and Mumford and Sons and Luminaires, and they're all got these Irish accents, and they're like heartfelt acoustic songs, and then you've got all these metalheads.
Oh.
All these like punk suburban metalheads, or punk, sort of like brat bratish kind of skater.
Yeah. Do you
So
mean
you
like?
got all that, and yeah.
Okay.
So it's all a bit.
It's kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And then what about in Brisbane?
Brisbane. I don't know what the scene is here. It's just. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the scene. Oh, there's Well, in Australia, there's this. I guess there's this movement of very parochial kind of rock and roll where these guys like they whack on an accent like this, and they drink heaps of beers, and they don't fucking and they don't know anything, and they just fucking drink a keg of beer and play music, and so it's like this bogan, glorifying suburban lifestyle and bogan lifestyle, drinking beers, smoking bongs, and everyone's like,
that's weird.
Yeah, they're really trying to like. It's almost like it's forced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like it just feels like. But that's sort of the new movement, I think, in Brisbane. Is just this sort of like dumbing down. Like everyone's really trying to like dumb themselves down.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you were trying to sell to the masses, maybe they're trying to be, I don't know, relatable. I don't know. I mean, there has to be some kind of. I mean, a lot of that like party rock music is supposed to be. So maybe they're trying to interpret that in a different way. I don't know. I'm not gonna guess.
Yeah, that's because party block music is like. We couldn't get into a bar, so we just trashed our house and got our friends over and made a half pipe in the backyard.
Oh my god. I'd be like, and then the answer to that is good for you. Oh my god, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but I guess it's always exciting, a different kind of thing. Cool. And would you say then, like, when you're touring, if you're in Australia or you're in Europe or the US, do you notice like a difference in the kind of fans you have?
Oh, and the fans.
Yeah.
Well, European crowds give, well, you know, if you start off in Italy and then Germany and Holland, and very like vocal crowds that give the bands a lot of feedback and a lot of energy, and
okay,
you know that's a good thing to kind of get used to.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the crowd gives you a lot of. Yeah, the crowd was really there with you, and you know when you notice the difference when you're in like somewhere where people are a little bit more reserved or whatever, where you know the band has to work
harder.
We have to work harder to get people to kind of loosen up a bit or relax or get into it. But that's what I find with Europe for the most part, just really supportive, vocal, crazy crowds, you know.
Okay, cool. And do you have any like crazy fan stories?
Crazy fan stories. Like a crazy fan. Oh.
Well, that's probably good that it's hard to think.
I'm trying to think of a good story of a crazy fan. Gonna have to think about that. But yeah, I mean, one guy in Sweden's got like Wolfmother tattooed across his back. He's like massively across his back. That's impressive. Dedication. When I see that kind of dedication from a fan, I feel like I've got to step up, man.
Well, it's like you're being like worshipped in a sense.
yeah, or someone is believing in us.
Yeah.
You know, like they've believed in us that much to, and it's given them that much inspiration or hope to put it on their skin. You just think, shit, we better keep going.
Yeah, you can't disappoint now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And would you say, like, you said you have like kids now, do you think that fatherhood has changed like how you maybe view your music or how you produce it?
Yeah, maybe, well, it makes me work harder, you know, because I'm the provider, you know, like I put food on the table,
Yeah, of course.
pay for the house and do everything, so I do feel like I've always felt a sense of responsibility, you know, with Wolfmother. Even on the first record, I said to the other guys, I was like, man, I'm not like from a wealthy family, or I don't have like, I really want this to work.
Yeah.
You know, I can't afford for this to be like Sonic Youth stuffing around with guitars, trying to prove. I really like want this to resonate, and you know, I'm going for it. And they were like, yeah. And then I thought, like, well, yeah, down the track, then we can stuff around and be all quirky and make our white record and be Sonic Youth. And but then you realize you can't do that either, because then you're sort of just letting the team down because you got all this support.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a family. Yeah, I feel like, here's all the material stuff. Here's the house. Here's the car. Here's all these things. Blah blah blah. But then the sort of bittersweet side of it is like, I have to go away, you know, and I spent a lot of time on the road, you know, away from the family. So, you know, that's the bittersweet side of rock and roll, which a lot of people don't really kind of think about. Hey, you know, is that these guys up there on the stage most of the time are away from their family.
Yeah.
But you know what? Some of them want that. Some of them
great comforting.
Some of them have been stuck in tough situations, and rock and roll might have been an escape that they needed, you know, for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't really have the answer to that one. I guess it varies for
person to person.
Yeah. The individual. Yeah.
No, but still insightful. Well, I think it was really really cool speaking with you, actually, learning about I guess your perceptions of music and the industry, and it was really nice.
Yeah, thanks, Isabella.
You're welcome. Well, then I think we can end the interview because I've taken up like an hour of your time, so quite a while.
Yeah. So I'll leave it with you. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic.
Okay. No, you can have faith. Well, thanks again, and hopefully, if you do a tour in Amsterdam, I'll come see you. It will be great.
I think we will be there at
cool.
Milkweg.
Oh, Milkweg. Yeah, that's cool. It's Milky Way. It's a cool venue.
Yeah, Milky Way.
Well, thanks again. It was really cool. Anti-authority, all that. Have a good rest of your day then.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.